It's estimated that the average person makes 35,000 decisions a day, from what to wear to what to eat to more complex decisions in our personal or even professional lives. About 5 seconds ago, you just made the decision to click on and to watch this YouTube video. So without even knowing it, we spend a lot of time every day making decisions. Now, some people are really good at making decisions. They're decisive and they can make decisions quickly, while others are really indecisive, and the whole process is time consuming and really difficult for them. Sometimes when we find it hard to make a decision, it's because we have decision fatigue. This is where we spend too much time mulling over our decisions, even the small ones. What happens when you do this is it leaves your brain too tired to make decisions that really matter. And quite often when this happens, people resort to decision delegation, which is the second reason why making decisions is hard. Decision delegation is where you let other people make decisions for you. When you don't have enough confidence in yourself to make the decision on your own, you delegate it out and you get someone else to make that decision for you. This isn't always a bad thing in some situations. For example, if you are a leader, you might want to empower your team. You might want to allow them the ability to make decisions, to build up their decision-making ability too. So sometimes this can be a good thing. But in other situations, if you delegate your decisions too much, you can end up losing your own instinct in making the right decision and confidence in yourself as to whether you are making the right decision or a good decision at all. So this can make even smaller decisions much harder for you to make. Your aversion to risk is also something that can make decisions harder or easier for you, depending on where you sit on the scale of risk. If you're somebody who is risk averse, meaning you don't like risk at all, then you probably take a really long time to make a decision. Even the small decisions take you a long time to make. You might also make repeated decisions, meaning you make the same decisions over and over again because you've done it before and you know it's safe. And you might even make proven decisions. In other words, decisions that have been proven out either by yourself or by someone else in the past. But if you are risk seeking, then you're more adventurous in your decision-making style, and you'll probably be okay to make decisions that are new and that are unknown to you. Then there are logical fallacies that all of us have and we carry with us, and they can impact our ability to make good decisions. In The Art of Thinking Clearly, which I'm currently reading the book guide of on short form, the author explains that logical fallacies could include wanting to be part of the group, the wrong kind of thinking, or relying on memory, which could be inaccurate. The author actually delves into 10 plus logical fallacies that can impact your decision-making ability, and short form covers all of these logical fallacies in their book guide, which is a fantastic way for me to get an idea on what this book is about and decide if I actually want to buy it or not. I know many of you watching have already joined short form. If you haven't yet and you're curious and you want to check it out, then use the link in the description below. This is my affiliate link to short form, and that will give you 5 days free access to short form and 20% off the annual subscription fee. So once you're aware of things that can make your decision-making process harder, then you can move on to how to make better and faster decisions. The first place I recommend you to start is to ask yourself, what kind of decision am I making? Is it a small decision? Is it a medium decision? Or is it a large decision? By categorizing your decision into these 3 categories, it can help you know how much time you should allocate to making that decision. For example, what to wear to work is a much less important decision than what topic you should talk about in this week's work presentation. So you should spend less time on deciding what to wear to work so you can allocate more energy and have more time to decide on what topic you're going to present on. The goal here is to focus your energy on the more important decisions. The second thing you need to do is identify what options are available to you. Sometimes you might not be able to make a decision because you have no idea of what options are out there that you can choose from. You have no boundaries or limits for your decision, and when you're in this situation, your options are limitless, which makes it much harder for you to make the decision because you simply don't know what to choose. Imagine you go to a restaurant and the menu says, "We'll make whatever you want to eat." This makes making the decision of what to eat much, much harder because you just have limitless opportunities. But if that restaurant identifies the type of cuisine that they make and the dishes that they can make for you, then this makes your decision much, much easier because you have limited options to choose from. Another strategy to make better and faster decisions is to allocate time to make your decision. Because with lack of time, it can be really tempting to delegate that decision to somebody else because you simply don't have enough time to think about it on your own. For smaller decisions, you'll probably be able to make those decisions on the spot, or at least you should be able to make those decisions on the spot. For medium or larger decisions, then you'll probably need more time to actually make that decision. So you should schedule in time and allocate time for you to do this. If you find yourself thinking about the decision during your unscheduled time, then I recommend that you push it aside and wait until your scheduled time arrives, because otherwise it can lead to overthinking things. You can even get more confused about the decision you have to make or the options that are in front of you. So I recommend that you push it aside to your scheduled time to make that decision. The goal here is if you give your brain a rest, then the right decision might come a lot easier to you. It's also important to look at what is important to you when making a decision. So because of the logical fallacy of wanting to belong to the group, it can be really tempting to conform and to want to please others. And when you do this, you end up making a decision that other people want. It might turn out that the decision you're making for the group is actually the right decision for you, but in other situations, it might be the wrong decision for you. An example of this might be you feel it's right to invite a new team member to a social outing with your other colleagues, but your other colleagues don't want you to invite that new person because they don't actually like them. Sometimes when you are in front of a decision, you need to look internally. You need to look at what your instinct tells you to do and make a decision that is right for you rather than a decision that is right for the group. When you're in front of a big decision, it can help you to externalize it, meaning to talk it out or to write it down. Because if we keep that decision to ourselves in our minds, the more we think about it, the more confused we become. Whereas if you externalize it, it can really help you to organize your thoughts better because they're probably quite muddled in your mind. It can help you get clarity on the options that are available to you so you can make a decision much faster. Many people use a list of pros and cons to do this. Other people talk to a friend. Regardless of the method that you use, externalizing your decision is a great way to hear it out loud or to see it on a piece of paper, which can help you to look at it in a more objective way, in a less emotional way. Another method I recommend is to ask for advice or get advice from someone. So if the decision you're facing is new to you, or if it is scary for you to make, then it's a really good idea to ask somebody who has been in front of a similar decision or the very same decision before and to get advice from them. What options were available to them when they made the decision? Which option did they choose and why? Getting advice from people who have made that decision before, who are more experienced than you in making that kind of decision, can really help you to fast track your decision-making ability. But at the same time, it's really important that you remember you shouldn't blindly accept advice, because that person's advice or that person's decision might have worked for them, but it might not work for you. It might not align with you and your values. If that's the case, then you will need to be brave and to make your own independent decision. And once you've made your decision, it's really important that you don't second guess your decision and you don't start to regret it. This is simply a waste of your time and your mental energy, which could be going towards the next decision that you have to make. Own your decision, accept the decision that you have made. Making a decision that is 70% okay, that you're 70% sure is a right decision, is much, much better than making no decision at all. Making a decision is not the only thing that emerging leaders have trouble with from time to time. Giving your opinion is another area that many emerging leaders struggle with. So if you want to learn how to give your opinion confidently, then you should watch this video up here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got a lot of value from it. Don't forget you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get regular updates from me, and I will see you next week in another YouTube video.